Let me start by saying congratulations. I'm halfway through the series and I'm just blown away by it. It's knowing that it's based on a book and that there's probably not going to be a quick follow-up. I'm taking my time on the last five episodes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
My first question is, why did you want to tell this story today?
Yeah, it's the question. That's the question we asked ourselves. Honestly, it's the question that sort of created this 5-year journey for us. I mean, I'll speak for myself coming to it. We grew up with this book. I think generationally speaking, is just something on our parents' nightstands, and I had not read it. What I was familiar with was the silhouette on the cover. This idea of a man who looks sort of like me, wearing clothing belonging to a culture that is not his. And, I was conflicted by that silhouette. I was concerned by it, from a couple of places. There's the representational aspect, as it would be seen in a modern day context, which, has a whole host of potentially problematic pitfalls, and that was concerning. But what I can really speak to as an audience member is just, frankly, that silhouette, I had seen it before. A million times, because the outsized influence of this book, it is sort of, there are so many stories, movies, television shows that have been derived from Shogun over the years that have taken that stranger in a strange land shape that Shogun perfected. So, as writers, we like to say we're in the business of looking for new cliches, right? And I just really, are there really new cliches that we could create out of this? It was concerning. Having said that, when you actually open the book and start to read through it, you find that all of these questions are exactly what Clavel was grappling with in his time, and that the story, especially where the story goes when it comes to the journey of this, all of these characters, is to a very modern place that felt very urgent. Like, today we need to tell this story of a story of how we encounter other cultures, how we encounter ourselves within those cultures, and sort of where we put ourselves in cultures in a world that we don't really belong. How we sort of focus our gaze and understand what our gaze is. So it actually is quite a modern story in that sense.
Yeah, and modern also in the sense of timeless, right? I think that Clavel asked certain questions and attempted to answer them in 1975. And we all live in kind of the after effects of that presentation. And I think the actual act of just saying, why do I want to tell this story right now, it was so important to the process. I had no idea. I wanted to just know the answer just to make sure I knew it, right? Let's make sure I'm not going on some foolish errand, but it was that you keep asking it, I think, is the point, right? That we've come to this point in time in which the Clavelian tidal wave might be coming to the point where he's allowing us to ride that wave and to join him in on the question asking. And now he's saying, you ask the new questions and you try to answer that. I think that's just the impulse, the artistic impulse to keep asking.
Yeah, and I think it's great how it has so many different perspectives, which is something I didn't expect. Either religious to cultural, societal. Can you talk about your goals for that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's just be stated that all of this was in the book, and what we were really, it was quite refreshing to see was how Clavel focused this book so in such a widely distributed fashion, that it was seen through the lens of not just Blackthorn as we had thought it was going to be, but through Tornaga, through Mariko, through these other subsidiary characters all around them too. That was just a great way into a very complex world.
But it goes off of what you were saying earlier too, in that, like, this process was long. And what have we not seen before? Let's find the thing that almost holds our interest, right? And this idea of a braided narrative where all three strands have equal equal weight and importance in what they have to say. And that's kind of what carried us through 5 long years.
Yeah, it's great because it's as it shifts scenes, like oh, this is my favorite part. I'm really enjoying this, and then it shifts to another scene, another person's narrative, and you're like, oh wait, no, I'm enjoying this just as much, and it keeps going all the way through. Like it started with scene 1, and it hasn't stopped 5 episodes in. So it's you did something very right.
Oh, thank you.
My last question is, what are you most proud of? Now that's all said and done, you put all this effort into telling this great story. What's going to stick with you?
Gosh,
I know what will stick with me.
go for it.
I think of the person I was when we first started this process, and full of gusto and like I said, naivete, like really just you have no clue at the outset what you're about to embark on. And I am a wildly different person on the other side of it, only because I've encountered these people I've worked with who have lent me their giftings and their talents and their time and their hearts and lent it to both of us. And the final result is so far beyond what I could have ever imagined, truly. And I'm so proud to even, I'm so proud of that initial naivete, and we like got going because it ended up being okay, thanks to the truly hundreds upon hundreds of people who have, given themselves to this.
Yeah, I'm too. I'm just so proud of the crew and the process that was developed while making this show, because it was a crew who were highly experienced professionals, who still came into it with a mind of saying, let's look for a different way to make this show for the first time. Let's find a way to be inclusive of our filmmaking, not just because it is the right thing to do in this modern day and age, but because this idea of inclusivity is what makes our stories better. It's what makes our stories more surprising, less expected, more interesting. And the way that the Japanese crew and the Canadian and American crew all found a way to fold in and around each other, to speak up when they saw things that were, not quite authentic or not quite, wouldn't be received well by Japanese audiences. And on the part of the Canadian and American crew to listen when those concerns were raised. And this is not like every now and then. I mean, this is our process of interrogation on a daily basis while making this show. It was always this conversation, and it's a messy conversation, a thorny conversation, but it's a conversation that ultimately makes our stories more unique. And I'm so proud that we came, probably entirely by accident, but came to that process.
Not unlike Blackthorn.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
In that sort of journey. So really, really happy with the result because of it.
Well, thank you so much for your time today and for your work and bringing this to a modern audience. I'm loving it. I cannot wait to watch the last 5 episodes, and bravo. So thank you
So much.
It gets more propulsive.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
can't wait.